Uh-oh, hold up. Oh, boys.
That Ethan's going through Hasan arc? No, he's not. No, but there are certainly a lot of people who see every time we have a conversation like this and assume that this is a good opportunity to drive a wedge, to immediately go and like brigade subreddits, for example, and be like, Hasan's a f***ing idiot. And I like...
Brigade subreddits. Hasan's community famously literally lives in the LSF subreddit. Hasan himself, who is on stream, brigaded YouTube comment sections, has brigaded other subreddits and literally downvoted threads into non-existence because he doesn't like how they were going, is going to blame other threads. Here's the problem. Here's the issue. I have a big subreddit with a lot of people that like to chat. I'm sorry that I actually have a real community and I don't just like tunnel myself into one area of the internet because I'm too scared of getting criticism from anybody that I can't directly threaten their fucking career over. Like, that's your problem, bro. Like, I got a lot of people that talk, and yeah, of course, we're gonna talk about other things that go on the internet. What is this expectation of large e-celebs thinking that they can be shielded from all forms of talk or conversation on the internet? Bro, you literally put your shit out there for other people to consume. What the fuck do you think is gonna happen? If you don't like it, just do a podcast behind a paywall. Do a podcast for sub only. Do a podcast that's Patreon only. I can't understand people that are so arrogant, that are so naive to think that they can put out a podcast on YouTube for everybody to comment, but they can only say nice things about it? Like, bro.
Suspiciously see so many of the same comments that I see on LSF, for example.
Suspiciously, the Hasan subreddit literally had direct links to the H3H3 subreddit telling them to go and fight DGGers. Like, bro, you guys literally brigaded it. Show me the Hasan Piker H3H3 Reddit. Does anybody have a link to that post? Oh, got removed by mods. Got that guy banned for reporting him, by the way. Jesus. I'm not up. You guys want to argue with some liberals in the H3 subreddit? Bro, 71 comments, and that's big for your dead sub, right? They literally posted this shit and linked directly to the thread on the H3H3 subreddit. Come on. Glass houses and stones? Some replies.
On the H3H3 subreddit. Very strange every time we talk about foreign policy. So odd.
You have dog takes on foreign policy. That's why you're so scared to give them. Well, how is it odd that, yeah, when you sit here and you simp for China and you simp for North Korea and you simp for everybody that's not the United States, yeah, no shit, people are gonna make fun of you for it. You deserve it.
Arrange me with my mythical checkout button.
H3H3 subreddit. Very strange every time we talk about foreign policy. So odd. I wonder where they're coming from. Anyway, could be any number of different places online, specifically on YouTube. But they don't say that about Dan because they know Ethan and Dan have been working alongside one another for many, many years, or they don't really know Dan that much and don't really care to drive a wedge between that relationship. They have 2,000 Taiwanese posts in the H3H.
No one's driving any wedges, you fucking retard. Nobody forced you to go on your stream and say that you can't talk to Ethan about an issue because you think he's too much of a partisan, bad faith hack to have the conversation. That was you, buddy. You said that all on your own. Nobody else made you say that. Why would you blame that on other people? Like, you literally shit on Ethan, like saying, yeah, he's too much of a business owner to have this conversation. I don't think I can do it. He's too self-interest. Like, bro, none of us made you say that.
I would never talk to Ethan about this because this is the one aspect where it goes directly against his best interest.
Google, right? Made by a few.
I can't believe, you understand what Hasan is saying here, right? Let me do the Destiny translation. I would never talk about this to Ethan because he's such a disgusting, bad faith, greedy fucking loser that he's never going to be honest about how absolutely gross the way that he runs his businesses, and he's just going to shill for fucking capitalism because he's a wealthy business owner that directly benefits off of the exploitation of his labor, right? That's like, what a gross statement. Like also, not to mention, how insane to say that about a guy that you co-host a social political podcast with. What a weird thing to say. I would never talk about this because I know my co-host is bad faith. By the way, when I say this, that thing that we won't talk about, it's literally like the center point to my entire economic and political philosophy. Can you replay what he says again? He basically just claims that Ethan is too bought into capitalism as a business owner to even have an honest opinion about this, so Hasan could never reach him. That's essentially what he's saying, right?
I mean, obviously it's different for Dan because, like, Dan is
an employee instead of an employer. Bro, come on. What a rude thing to say about your podcast co-host about politics. That's such an unbelievably shitty thing to say. Like, imagine if Ethan was like, I think that talking about the current state of world affairs and what's happening to Ukraine and China is important. I don't really think I would discuss genocides, though, with a Turk. I don't think I would discuss genocide with Hasan, because obviously he's very motivated to deny, you know, his people's past. Like, could you imagine saying something like that? Like, that would be so wild. Like, bro, Hasan is your podcast co-host. Why would you say that? That he's not capable of engaging on something on a political level? That's so unbelievably true.
Yeah, everyone is a Taiwanese all of a sudden. The thing is, like, I think Ethan's heart is in the right place, and he has gone through a transition.
What the fuck is Hasan talking about right now?
Personally, saying greed is inherent is just self-reporting. I think assuming that greed is inherent is completely understandable. It's just, it feels like it's a part of, it feels like a second nature if you live under a capitalist framework. Greed was a cardinal sin in the Bible. This shit's been around for a millennia. No, I think that it's, fuck. It's just, people think it's human nature because of social conditioning. And yes, human beings are self-interested. That part is true, for sure. But human beings also are very collective. They're very collectivist. Humanity is comprised of both self-interest and collectivism at the behest of self-interest. But it's just, I don't know. All creatures are self-interested. Survival makes all living things act in a certain way. Greed is cultural and political. I don't think Ethan realizes the way he treats employees is an exception, not a rule. Yeah, if I donate 1,000 to a homeless person tomorrow, then that is going against my innate nature, or what? Obviously not. Human nature is mutable depending on conditions. Not much more can be definitively said about it. If you consider all the shit Ethan has been gone through with losses and financial trauma, it would make sense that he'd be this cynical. Under socialism, the need for acquisition of wealth is removed. Therefore, greed, at least for money and power, is reduced. I think Ethan is conflating greed with exploitation. Even if you think greed is inherent to humans, which I don't, exploitation is not, and capitalism necessitates exploitation. Yes, it normalizes it, it necessitates it, it makes it seem as though it's like the best possible structure. It's silliness. What is the I always fuck this quote up, but it's like, you would think greed is a part of a naturally occurring phenomena, a part of human nature under a capitalist organization of the economy, just like you would think that.
You think humans are inherently greedy or altruistic or both or neither? Humans are, the best way I heard this explained ever is humans are communist when it comes to family or your particular tribe, and the further away you go from that, the more anarchist you become. So everybody's a communist when it comes to their family. You want to share with your wife, you want to share with your children, you want to do whatever you can for these people, arguably giving everything for these people, financially, in terms of life, in terms of body, whatever, right? But the farther away you step away from people who give a fuck about you, the less you tend to give a fuck about the people farther away from you. Now, where we draw our lines and the tribes that we, you know, identify with are going to determine where that care ultimately lies. But I think more or less that's kind of how it goes.
Coughing is a natural phenomena if all you knew was working in the coal mines. It was like your Taiwan convoy, or say he realizes personal connections and get uncomfortable. No, I don't think he gives a shit. I don't think he gives that much of a shit about Taiwan necessarily. Like he's not necessarily, he doesn't have a stake in the Taiwan conversation in the same way that he would in capitalism. Like, no, he just likes bringing it up because one, he likes having a back and forth, and two, it brings a lot of attention over to the show and to the subreddit. It's not a bad thing necessarily.
My God.